There you go. If I turn myself on, it'll work a lot better. How are you, folks? Hope you're having a good day. Friday. Fabulous day. Sorry, trying to find a pen, which I normally have lying around on my desk here. And for some magnificent reason, I've found somewhere else to put it, which is a bit of a pain in the, well, you know where. Look, yesterday, what a great day we had yesterday. When I say we, John Wilson and I, and along with a couple of folks from the Sunshine Coast, Camillo and his marvellous, wonderful, lovely wife, Tammy, headed up to go and check out a property in Tansy. Now, if you don't know what or where Tansy is a very tiny little town. It is about 30 k's north of an even, well, similar tiny town called Kilkeven, heading up towards central Queensland. It's about, I don't know, 50 minutes, 45 minutes from Gympie, and you go inland from Gympie and head north. Gayndah is about an hour away if you're heading back towards the coast, and well, I'll give you a bit of an approximation. It was about, I don't know, 3.5, 4 hours drive. What I didn't take into account was traffic. John wasn't originally going to come with me. We had a meeting after our show on Wednesday night for something else, and at the end of that I asked him if he wanted to come. Jumped at the thought, and I said, great, I'll see you there at 7 o'clock. Didn't give myself anywhere near enough time. God, the bloody peak hour traffic and the dickheads. Although, if I'm honest, there weren't too many of them. Just a couple, but just a couple enough to hold up traffic at intersections and that kind of thing. People who queue up into the intersection. I know in Queensland there is a fine now for that, and possibly a loss of points. They take points off you for everything else. Why wouldn't they do that? I'm not sure if that happens in every state, but certainly there are some people in Queensland who are not learning this lesson. Anyway, we eventually got to John, picked him up and headed north, and we were against the traffic, so it was a pretty good run north. We got up there about 11 o'clock. In the end, had a wonderful lunch with Chris. Missed his wife, Leanne, unfortunately. But Chris owns the property, and he's up there with my mate, Len, who you may have seen on the program. And I've spoken about Len and the Iterawans in the past. Len is also somewhat of a constitutional scholar, former airline pilot, former B-double truck driver. He likes transporting things. What can we say? But we had a lovely lunch, just beautiful lunch. Salad, fresh salad, most of which came, I think, from their garden. Fresh pork, a magnificent pork, like cold chilled pork roast. Some magnificent pork. And a look at the egg supplies. Well, can I tell you, the eggs are in pretty good supply. There are, I think, about 2,000 plus chickens there on the property, and they're all laying. Now, the interesting thing that I found out from Chris, and part of what Chris is trying to do is get involved with My Place, try and get some people who are interested in helping sustain our food supply. He has 180 acres there, a great creek down the back that's already being used, I think, with some hydroelectric type power set up to run some pumps down the bottom end of the property. There is an olive grove there. There are a couple of houses, although I'm not sure Camillo and Tammy might have taken one up by now. There is also enough room for a tiny home. In fact, there's enough room for a lot of tiny homes. But what would you make your tiny home out of? Can I say hemp, folks? That is the future. And Darren will be on in the not too distant future to bring us up to speed a little bit with what's going on down in Victoria regarding hemp production. There's a hemp factory that's opened up down there, and they are looking at building designs. Darren's obviously a qualified builder. He knows what's required and how to put things together. So he's thrown himself into that with much gusto. So I'm looking forward to talking to him a little bit later on tonight to see how it goes. Everybody at the moment, we're a little bit run off our feet. Of course, Vince was going to be on for a bit of a chat, and he, unfortunately, I think, missed the email link. We've got problems getting the email out from this thing sometimes. And I've sent it to him via text. We'll just see. But he is actually doing a My Place presentation tonight in Mount Barker in South Australia. So hi to everybody who's there if you're watching, or if you're going to watch this back. I hope you had a great night there. Vince is certainly a very switched on man. I'm very pleased to have him on my team. And he has thrown himself into My Place for South Australia in a big way. He and Darren Bergwerf are very similar men, can I tell you? They like to get stuff done. So I hope everybody who either is going or has been, and you're watching this, tomorrow or the next few days, then I hope you had a great night. I hope you learned a great deal. And Vince will be very informative. Oh, look, speak of the man himself, he pops in. You know exactly the right time to pop in, because I've just been blowing out your backside like no tomorrow.
Yeah, mate. Sorry, I'm just having a little bit of challenge with the volume on this StreamYard. It's very quiet, so I'll have to listen really closely.
Well, I can try and yell a bit if that'd make it a bit easier. There's a bit of wax in that ear, buddy.
No, it's still very quiet. Hang on a minute. Let me see if I can make some adjustments. Do an IT thing, maybe.
Yeah. Is there an IT professional in the building?
Yeah, no, not doing it now. Let's see if StreamYard will let me.
Have you tried just turning the volume up on the switch?
Settings, audio.
Sometimes it can be that easy. Well, while Vince is sorting all that out, what I'm going to do is say good day to a few people. Michelle Bradley Smith is in the house. She's saying hello to Aussie Sue. And Aussie Sue, God love you. Thank you for coming back again and again and again. Neville's back in the house. The larrikins are in the place. G'day, corruption researchers. I love them. I like the larrikins. That's how they work it. Any luck yet, mate? You hearing me, or am I just looking a bit like Marcel Marceau with a moving mouth? Yeah, I reckon that's pretty much what I'm doing. Who else? Margot. Hello, Margot. Lovely to see you in here. Sudsy's back in. Norse, Dan, Kate. Who else have we got in there? Adam, Chaos. There you go. That's going to be interesting. Truth Monkey, always welcome. Paul Johnson, Sunflower. Hello, darling. Thank you for coming in again on your Friday night. Chris is in there. There's good people. So, g'day, folks. Nice to have you in on a Friday night. Any luck yet, Vince? Have you heard me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me okay?
You are a stunning and deeply talented man when it comes to speaking. We hear you perfectly. So I've just been telling the world that Mount Barker, my place, is where you are tonight. Now,
No.
I'm getting ahead of myself. You're giving a bit of a talk on what my place is tonight in Mount Barker.
No.
Oh,
no,
shit,
that's
right.
Monday night. That's Monday night. Right. Tonight we're in Port Adelaide. So we've gone for a little trip over the top of the hills, came into the wonderful rainy Adelaide, and we are just here about to start the meeting. So most of these guys here don't want to be filmed, obviously, because it's their very first meeting.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
But they're more than happy to say hello. Carl, you everybody ready? You're all gas bagging amongst yourselves. Look at that. It's just like, go for it. All right. So Carl is currently on. I have the camera facing me, so it's my ugly mug. But you guys can all say, hello, Carl, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, g'day, gang. Sounds like you've got a great roll up there tonight in Port Adelaide.
And they're still rolling in the door, mate, at this stage. So they're all excited. They're all getting into what's involved with my place. They're going to learn a lot more tonight. Mind you, they do have to put up with me, which is unfortunate for them, but I'm sure they'll survive. But okay, so so tonight here in Port Adelaide, next Monday we'll be in Mount Barker. Mount Barker for the Harndorf people over there. And also exciting news that Morgan is looking to start up as well. Right, so these things are rolling in South Australia. When you start South Australia rolling, look out.
Yep.
All right.
Beautiful. Can't wait to come over and be part of all that, mate. And hopefully we'll do that sooner rather than later. Do you want me to bring the boss in now?
I hear you're going bushwalking with our wonderful friend for a month or two.
Well, no. Next week I'm going to do a little bit of bushwalking on Thursday and Friday. There probably won't be shows. I'll try and do something, but it really does depend on what sort of coverage we've got. Yes, but outside of that, we'll have something to say or nothing at all to say after I've experienced bushwalking. Shall we call it that?
Well, yeah, there's that one, but there's also your July trip that you were talking about on Wednesday night.
Yeah. I beg your pardon. Yeah, that's going to be absolutely amazing. That's with David Cole and the group from Lamarama. the Lamarama Journey. So lamaramajourney.com is the website. I've emailed or forwarded everybody who has sent an email to me inquiring about going on that July adventure. David should have got all those today. If you want to come, I noticed that on the website, people are saying they can't find a price for it. I've emailed him and asked me to let me know that. I haven't seen anything from him today, though. I will get it over the weekend, and as soon as I know, I will let you know. And I'm sure that if your name or if you emailed me and I've passed it along to David, his team will be in contact with you in due course to let you know. But that'd be pretty exciting. But I think it's 9 days, 8 nights. 650 kilometres trekking across the top end and learning culture.
Yep, no, it's good. I'd almost wish I was fit enough to do it.
Yeah.
Anyway, mate, I'm going to leave it with you. This crowd's into it again. The seats are filling
mate.
up.
No,
It's
those
exciting.
Port Adelaide crowds are tough, mate. I know when I used to live in Adelaide, you had to be careful when you went to the Port Adelaide pubs.
Yeah.
Don't make them angry.
All right, mate. See you later.
Yeah, buddy. Excellent stuff. That's Vince at Port Adelaide tonight, representing for my place, and that should make the boss pretty happy. Good evening, Mr. Bergwerf. How are you, my friend? Oh, no, you better unmute yourself. It'll work a lot better. Something's not working. I can't hear you. Very strange. No, that's not working. You want to log out and log in again. Try that. See if that works. Yeah, you can't hear me either. Everybody else is hearing me. Don't know what's going on there. You must be muted. Why am I talking to a man who can't hear me, folks? Yes, not terribly logical, but there you go. No, let me see if I can. Oh, he's going to go out and try again. All right. Well, look, let me go back to what I was doing yesterday. So on this property up at Tansy, there is an opportunity, and we will give you some more details on that in the coming months as it's put together more formally. But they do have a bit of land. They're very keen to get some people together, and growing hemp is the direction that they would like to take certain parts of that property going forward. Have we got you yet, Darren?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, beautiful. Cheers,
right.
mate.
No, you were all frozen before and I couldn't hear you, so that's good. Yeah, good to see Vince. Got the My Place meeting happening over in Port Adelaide tonight. Awesome.
Absolutely. And he says there's another one too. I forget the name, started with M, another little town, Morgan, I think he said, is interested in getting one together as well. So that's great, mate. I think that's what, 7, 8 or 9 now in South Australia that are on the go trying to get up. So you've got to be proud of the effort being made.
Another one in Western Australia today too at Karratha.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So I think we've added probably, I don't know. Well, actually, I don't even know what we're up to now, but we're adding them fairly quickly at the moment, which we had a pause for a while. And I wasn't really keen to start growing again yet. We still haven't got everything set up. We haven't still got the structure set up, but we've got. If people want to get started, then we need to get started. So we're facing our own challenges down here at the moment. We're pretty much under attack from all different angles at the moment. So we've got a fair bit to deal with.
Is this stemming from the ABC 7:30 report hatchet job they attempted to do on you a couple of weeks ago?
I believe it is, yes. Right. I mean, total misrepresentation of what My Place is about, very one-dimensional, not taking into account. I mean, it was ridiculous. They spent 4 hours here, met so many beautiful people. I did lots of different interviews, and it was very obvious that, she came here with an agenda to discredit My Place and myself. But that's gone up to another level now, and there's quite a few others we've had. In my opinion, it's very blatantly obvious that councils now are shutting us out of venues that are the people's venue. They're on Crown land, and they think that they're the sole owners of them, and they're pushing back by not allowing us to use facilities around the area. So they're ramping it up, and that just shows a total lack of respect for freedom of speech in this country by the media and also the so-called local government.
Yeah. Now, Could this reaction also be coinciding with the rather loud efforts that some of your My Place groups are doing in their local councils at the moment? They're not disruptive. They are simply making their matters heard. And there was a big one the other night that you attended. You want to talk us through that one?
No, I didn't. I didn't attend. I actually had my own meeting running at Frankston.
Right.
That wasn't My Place people. I had plans to go there to make, because I knew it was going to be a very contentious meeting, because the council down at Monash are basically promoting a drag queen show to 6 to 11-year-olds at the local library. We have, and I just wanted to make sure that I went down there beforehand and made sure that My Place community knew that we're not there to be yelling abuse or anything like that. We're a collaborative, informative community, not a combative one. I was assured by the guy who runs the My Place Oakley branch that, or community, I should say. I think they're calling us chapters now. They think we're like a bikie gang. I mean, which is ridiculous again. But it's all about terminologies. You know, they're trying to paint a picture.
Yeah.
But no, Peter said, look, don't worry about it. I've got it under control. So that's all that kerfuffle that happened outside the glass wall was nothing to do with My Place whatsoever. They did a report. In fact, the ABC rang me yesterday for an interview about it. And I said, look, I only turned up after I seen what was happening on the live stream, and I got there late. By the time I got there, the whole foyer had been cleaned out. All the police were still there, but there was no other people there. Arvie had gone. Ruskin had gone, all the protesters, the concerned parents had gone, and also the drag queen people had gone as well. So I rocked up and I just had a conversation with the police officer there, and I was just wanting to make sure that we weren't implicated in what took place, and we weren't. The ABC wanted to do an interview, and they came back to me and said, look, the fact that you weren't there, because I spoke to her on the phone, and is it Ralph Babbitt?
Yes.
Yes. Yep. He was there.
United Australia.
Senator. Yeah. So he was actually there at the meeting. So they decided they'd interview him. They did a piece, I guess, online, and actually did the story right. Didn't implicate or mention My Place at all in their story. So, and that was my main concern, because we're obviously being branded, and there's a deliberate effort to discredit My Place by many different establishments at the moment.
Yeah. Well, I think that's very, very much the case in Victoria, but I'm not getting feedback from Queensland or New South Wales or anywhere else for that matter saying that you've been branded nationwide by the ABC like that, probably because it was a local 7:30 report, not a national one. I don't see that people are withdrawing from My Place after this. The ABC, if they're trying to ruin it, are failing epically. Just have a look at how many folks have turned up tonight in Port Adelaide. Now, it's hard to tell because I didn't actually see them, but there were a lot of voices in there saying hi, Carl. So there is a lot of interest in seeing what My Place is all about. And obviously, the message that Vince will be telling them tonight is the same message that you've been pushing from day one. Unity through community. That's what this is. We're not a divisive element.
No, correct, and that's the stupidity of these people. I mean, the harder they the harder they go against us, the more resolve and the more people that will join us. So, look, I have no issue being under the bus, and they can say what they like. The people in the My Place community, and anyone that knows me and knows what we're about, know that it's fake news. And I've been in contact with that reporter, and I've made a couple of journalists fully aware that they have a moral responsibility to the people to report in a manner
fair
that's
and unbiased.
Correct, fair and unbiased. Yep.
Yeah.
And the truth. I mean, there were so many lies in that story from Emily Baker from the ABC that it's just ridiculous. And if that was anyone else, would be getting hauled over the coals and charged and all kinds of stuff. But she'd done no research. She only came down for one reason, and that was made very obvious. But anyway, that's fine. Look, I got that on the chin, and we move on. But all I want to get across to the people of Australia and the people of My Place communities is don't be perturbed by what they're trying to do to us and what they're labelling us. For too long, people have been afraid to have their voice heard. Don't go back under a rock now just because things are getting a little bit hot in the kitchen. This is when we stand up stronger and we unite even further. And we push back against that BS narrative that they're trying to paint about us. We don't allow them to bring our vibration down and get in our heads and start to make us second guess, because we are right, they are wrong, and we need to just own that.
Yeah. And there is so many good things that My Place is doing, has done, and can demonstrate on not just a local scale, but on a national scale, things that are starting up all over. Now, one of the most significant steps forward that My Place is taking at the moment in Victoria is the new factory, the new hemp production factory that's just been opened.
Yeah,
this is really exciting.
Oh, look, it's exciting for the people and for the country and for the environment also. But it's certainly not a My Place initiative. It's something that I've been talking about for a long time, about new industries along those lines. But these guys started this 12 months ago. They're not up and running. I was actually in their factory today. I've been there 3 times in the last week. I also visited a local friend of mine who's manufacturing caravans, and the production line they've got set up is amazing. There's lots of new stuff, and we're actually about to start pushing our next group to the forefront of My Place communities, and that's the environmental one. And we're going to start to put some PowerPoint displays and some flyers together, basically debunking the lithium battery story, explaining all the pitfalls about lithium batteries. They're catching fire all around the place, blowing up. They're the mining and the detrimental effect it has on the environment with the 17 different things that they need to mine to build these batteries. They're not biodegradable. They're very expensive to replace. And then we're side by side. We're going to have the My Place Australia's solutions, and we've got hemp batteries that can store solar power. There's so many different real green initiatives and alternatives. Same for the wind turbines. We're going to debunk that whole story and actually put the truth out about what they do and how long they last. And actually start to paint a picture and give people. I think the environmental slant to what My Place is going to do is going to basically, give us a lot more credibility in what we're about. That they won't be able to paint that one-trick pony, council action group kind of narrative. We've got so much more. We're still involved in talking with the Indigenous tribes. And trying to do something there where our health and wellness teams are about to get that nationally set up. Our website's getting very close to being finalised, and and we're having a massive effect on the environment and the awareness, and not just us. I mean, there's lots of groups doing it, but the awareness. Every report I hear is growing Australia wide, and we just got to keep pushing and don't let this garbage that the press are trying to put out there deter anybody, please.
Next Tuesday night, at least I think it'll be Tuesday night at this stage, David Cole's coming back on, and I'm going to invite a couple of other people. I'm going to invite Senator Jacinta Price. Whether or not she comes or not will be a different matter, but I'll invite her. I was going to invite Arnie Glenda, and I was thinking about inviting yourself and Ulikai for a bit of a yarn about this vote that's coming up. Is that something you might be interested in?
Yeah, I'd love to be part of that. I've already done a Zoom with the LORE/My Place a couple of months back, and I actually was on David Cole's Langorama kind of Facebook Live. I don't even know what day it was, sometime earlier this week. So, David's been down here. I've met him in person. So I'd definitely be keen to be part of that.
Yep. All right. Well, do you think you might be able to pass the invite along to Ulikai?
I can certainly do that. Yes.
Beautiful. Well, we'll see if we can't get a few people sitting around and having a bit of a yarn about just why this vote is so important to black and white people alike.
Yeah, definitely. It's the voice, the voice of freedom. We're all happy with that, but the voice into Parliament, we're certainly not happy with that, and
No.
we've just got to make that widely known that this is 100% no vote, and we need to see massive numbers because we know how things can kind of turn and be manipulated. So we need to be, well, that's the other problem as well, because every time we vote, we're actually consenting to this system. So it's a bit of a catch-22. But look, I think it's how important is it? I mean, it's like Dan Andrews' garbage that he brings in with the biosecurity acts and all that kind of stuff. They're exactly that. They're an act, and they only have any relevance if we believe they have relevance. So, and at some point in the not too distant future, I hope, all of this stuff is going to be in the rear vision mirror, and we will be taking this country in a new direction.
So to that end, you and I quite often talk about international intel that's coming out and about, and we are both on the page of we're not relying on white hats to fix anything. We're trying to get the people to stand up, and it's been suggested in some new research that we are the white hats. We, the people, are the white hats. I think that's a pretty fair statement, don't you?
Yeah, I agree. And I actually had this discussion with my brother today about, potentially, we were talking about all the different ones, whether it's Kimberley Gogan or, Ricardo's coming out with stuff, or the white hats or the Q movement, all of that stuff, that potentially we've been talking about it for a while, that the whole thing's been a psyop. But when you look at it, would we be doing what we're doing if we didn't have that belief? If we didn't believe that back 2 years ago that this was happening, would we be doing what we're doing? Potentially not.
Yeah, probably not.
So there's the reason. I mean, they have a strategy. I mean, that's a pretty smart plan if this is all real. Part of that strategy was maybe that we need to lie to the public to make them think that we're very close to winning this, and they're going to kind of jump on the gravy train and want to be part of it, and that's there's all different ways where you can encourage or entice people to step up and do something, and if that's what their plan was, it worked, and then now it's kind of grown a life of its own. So look, it's irrelevant. Everything that's happened in the past, how much of it was true or not true, it's irrelevant. What we're doing now is relevant. What we do in the next 6 months is relevant. And we are the white hats, and we have the power, and we know it, and we've just got to own it and take it.
Well, as Bruce says, we are the people we've been waiting for. I think that's
correct.
right.
Is that Brucey from Maryborough?
No, that's Bruce from the Galactic Larrikins.
Okay.
For those who don't know who Bruce is, you're looking at him. That's that little kangaroo head on the screen there. But we actually refer to all the Galactic Larrikins as Bruce. And in that same vein, good evening, Roys. There's a lot of Roys watching tonight. So I want to say good day to the Roys. Look, I think going forward, Darren, what can I do to help make sure that the message is getting out? I'm happy to come to Victoria and we'll put on shows anywhere and everywhere you want. Let's go out in front of the ABC and do it. Quite happy to now bring a crowd and start from the front of the ABC offices.
Yeah, that'd be funny. Look, what you're doing, Carl, and I mean, you're always available. You're always happy to have me come on and give an update. So you're doing an amazing work for my place and for the country. Anything you want to do, I'll be happy to try and accommodate if you come back down to Melbourne to get some live shows around the different my places. But just the fact that you had Vince on tonight, stuff like that, Mandy in Newcastle smashing it, Peter up in Townsville smashing it. We've got some really solid groups. So it doesn't just always have to be about me, and that's the structure we're building at the headquarters, at the team for the national kind of development team is purely that I'm not the leader. Okay, this is a group situation now. This is bigger than any of us, and it's going to become bigger than any of us. So we've got to put that framework of the future governance style that we want to implement into my place. So we've got about a group of 10 now, and everything that we're working on, the code of conduct, the constitution, the structure, the framework of what my place is, whether it's a not-for-profit, unregistered, or whether it's a PMA, all of that stuff has to be talked about in length. It has to be a consensus of those 10 that are on the development committee. And once it's a consensus, then we put it out to all the My Place communities around the country. We get some feedback. Maybe we missed something. Maybe something could be improved or added to. We come back, we tweak it, and then we put it back out. And then once there's a consensus nationwide that everybody in the country thinks it's an awesome document, yep, they love it, then it's implemented nationally, and then it's implemented in every other My Place community. And that's the way that the structure is. It's an operator's manual, and it doesn't matter whether I'm there or not, or someone else. People come and go. That is how every decision everything that's implemented has to be done. And so we're basically building, once again, that model that won't be exactly that model, but into the future, that this country should be run the same way.
Yep. Luke's bringing up, what about the Australian Bill of Rights? I would argue that, the My Place document is a very good start. So too is the log of claims that John Wilson's put forward. We need a starting place before we can develop an Australian Bill of Rights, because currently the thing we work under is not ours. It's not written by us. It's theirs. So we would need to have some better minds than me probably sitting down to try and figure out the wording of that. But that's what, in part, things like what you're working on with My Place and what John's working on with the log of claims is designed to do. It gets people thinking about what comes next. What would an Australian Bill of Rights look like? What would I demand? So it's all about starting a conversation and being active. And this leads back once again to us being the White Hats. Nobody else is going to share this information with you. It gets dumped, and those of us that are seeking information find it. Now, that doesn't mean we believe it automatically. We go and research it ourselves. But, there are some good signs happening in the world today. In fact, we were talking earlier, Rebecca from Truth Seekers had contacted you with some details about a legal case that's happening overseas at the moment, and how evidence of the plandemic is now in abundance and cannot be denied. This is going to have some big ramifications. Of course, you won't hear about it in mainstream media at the moment, but in the next week or so, it's going to blow up in the alternates in a very, very big way. So there's some encouraging signs coming out of all of that, Darren.
Yeah, 100%. And that just backs up what another contact of mine sent me just a couple of days ago, that BlackRock is bankrupt, and there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. What that intel was telling me was that there ain't going to be a financial collapse. They are going to just keep taking companies over and replacing boards and replacing things behind the scenes. So potentially, that whole thing that we've been expecting, an EBS and a financial crash and all that kind of stuff, and military, martial law, I think that could be part of the psyop. I think that they've been doing black ops behind the scenes on all aspects of replacing the FBI and replacing the Fed Reserve and replacing all of these companies, including Twitter. Maybe Facebook's next. So potentially it's from what this intel was telling me is that it's going to be a smoother transition than we think. Yeah.
Just a notice in the chat. People are talking about bees at the moment. Are you hearing stories of bee colonies in Victoria being destroyed by the government? Certainly happening in New South Wales and other places. This is a concern. Obviously, bees are extremely important, essential, one might suggest, for pollination. And the government, for whatever reason, have taken a bent against bees. I've been trying to get a hold of the guy that created the flow hives. He's only in Byron, trying to get a hold of him to see if he'll come on and have a bit of a discussion about it. It might be too hot to handle for those sorts of guys. So if you're an apiarist and you want to talk about what's going on with the bees, please email me, carl@vofhq.com. I know a little bit. When I say a little bit, I mean a little bit about beekeeping. I had an uncle who lived in Denali. I'm not sure if he's passed yet or not, actually. He'd be in his 90s if he hadn't, Uncle Ray Hall. Ray Hall was also part of Capilano Honey when it was eventually set up with all the bee farmers or bee honey providers. And I used to go out and spend a lot of time with him, with his hives out in the bush and then back in the shed separating. So I know a little bit about it, but it's an important subject that we can't just let idle away in the background, Darren. So if you hear anything in Victoria about what they're doing with the beehives, can you let me know?
Oh, certainly will, but just a few things on that. Obviously, 70% of our produce needs to be pollinated by bees. So that it's an obvious reason. We know what their agenda is and why they're doing it. I haven't heard of any stories in Victoria yet, but I would just hope that there'd be a lot of people in this country because they only the registered hives are going to be affected if they do come knocking. I've heard from Sydney all the way up to the Central Coast so far, they've been up through that area. But if you're not registered, then you're probably not going to have a problem. The second thing I'd say on that, that there is a case law in New South Wales Common Law Division of the Supreme Court on trespass. And it doesn't matter who it is or for what reason. These people have no authority or no right to come onto your property whatsoever. So I would certainly be getting people that do have bees that are registered to maybe have a look at that case and understand the trespass laws. Lost you. Can't hear, mate.
Let me try that. Oh, no, go on. I've been talking and muting and it wasn't working. Beg your pardon, folks. Just saying to Darren that I'll be down in Victoria. We'll be travelling through Victoria, going to South Australia to do Vince's shows. And then we will, yes, thank you, Sandy. Darren's back.
You're back. I don't know
my
how
time,
much of that you heard, but obviously they didn't want me to let everybody know that they should be looking up the trespass laws and the Common Law Division of the Supreme Court that just ruled against the New South Wales Police. So anyone that's got beehives that are registered, I suggest you go and learn a little bit more about the trespass law.
Wow, yeah, absolutely. And Sandy, who was saying that she's got a blanket of bees in her troughs, of water troughs in the mornings. The region's beekeepers are being told they're not allowed to have any more hives for 2 or 3 years. Where's the bee supply going to come from in 2 or 3 years? That'd be the question I have. They'll be imported
Let's
bees.
hope there's lots of unregistered ones out
there. Okay, this is a good one. I think we're going to be hassled a bit from now on, mate. So I'll let you go, and I will.
Yeah, just one more thing, if you can still hear me. Can't hear me?
Yep, gotcha.
Okay, just one more thing before I head off. Just with the new people that are coming on, for all of my place communities that are listening tonight or hear this later on. Obviously, there's a little bit of angst because our bubble's been burst a little bit. It's not very one-dimensional in the My Place communities anymore. We have had a lot of people join out of curiosity or to be divisive. Most of the conversations that are happening at the moment are just that. They're just people with different opinions. And it's healthy. It's absolutely necessary. that their bubble gets burst and our bubble gets burst, and we start to actually have open discussion about every topic and every issue that's in front of us. And that's the only way that we can kind of get some common ground and get the whole community back together. So it's going to be really lumpy and bumpy. There's going to be arguments. What we need to be is the bigger people. We do not need to chastise them. We do not need to abuse them. Let them have their abuse if that's what they think they need to do. Let them have their rant. We just keep putting up facts and figures and real truths. And at some point, they might just start to get a little bit of red pilling. But certainly don't think of it as a negative. I think it's a positive, but it's how we handle that. I mean, I get abused more than anyone that I know. And it has no effect on me whatsoever. I let them have their rant, and then I just come back with a very measured, friendly answer or question back to them. It's how we interact that makes us the bigger men, the bigger women. So it's time for all of us to put our big boy pants on and big girl pants on, and not be so hurt by someone that has a different opinion than us. Seriously.
And can I just touch on the trolls, Darren? Those folks who want to come in and be divisionists, if you like, in the group. A lot of them are very young, particularly the ones that hide behind the keyboard. They are very young. You can tell by the way that they throw their abuse. It's a fat insult. It's an old insult. You're old, you're grey, you've forgotten more than I've ever learned. And da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Anyway, I would just like to point out that the young people in the world are maybe not as smart as they think they are. And I have one video, and I would ask everybody, the sound on this is a little bit quiet. So I want you to just turn your sound up a little bit if you've got it turned down, just so you can hear exactly what this young man, a future leader of ours in this country, could potentially be, or in a country. I'm not sure if he's Australian, but this is what a troll is like, folks. I think you couldn't get a better example of a troll, and you must listen to what he actually says at the start. He says, I seriously have no idea. I think he should have just left it at that, right? But he says, I seriously have no idea. So turn up your sound a little bit, folks, and have a watch of this.
I seriously have no idea.
That's what's going to be leading our country in years to come, folks. A kid who no doubt is very brave behind the keyboard, but doesn't know what a resistance band is or how to keep it away from his nuts. I just think it's hysterical. Absolutely hysterical.
Look, at the same time, and this is all part of being different than what we're used to being. These people have been indoctrinated. They have potentially parents that have been indoctrinated. It's through no fault of their own that they're that as naive or as gullible as they are, and only the truth is going to set them free. So hopefully that'll be coming soon enough, but it's not their fault, a lot of these people.
No, but what is their fault is the abuse that they tend to hurl at people from a holier-than-thou perspective. They believe that they, because they're young, and I don't remember being like that. Maybe we all were. I don't know. I don't remember being that much of a know-it-all, but, some would suggest I've always been a know-it-all, so nothing much has changed. But if that's what our
you're older, fatter, and grayer.
Exactly. But I've also got lived experience, which is the big difference between you, me, and a bunch of trolls who haven't barely got out of puberty. So treat them as just that, mate. They're children learning to walk. Treat them as such. Ignore them. They aren't worth playing with. They aren't worth giving air to, and they aren't worth arguing with. So all power to you. I'm sure I don't need to tell you that. You're a good man. You know how to deal with trolls. So, but I'll help you fight them every step of the way, mate. My place is by far the best thing happening in this country.
Don't even need to fight them. Let them have their say. They've got a lot of growth, but we have got to grow as well, and not let that that kind of stuff affect us. So anyone that's kind of still that's having a negative impact on them, then they need to go away and maybe and work on why that is, and come back with a different attitude. And look, that's coming from me, and there'll be a heap of people out there thinking you're full of shit, mate. Because I've always been a fight. Primary school, I'd be punching on every day, and I was always very combative and reactive. But we're all changing, and we've got to a place now where I have not time to be that. There's no need to be that. It actually is so much easier to diffuse the situation by being the opposite.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Good on you, mate. Thanks very much for coming in on your Friday night. Give my love to Anna, and I hope you have a great weekend.
No worries, Carl. Same to you. Thanks. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Right, I'll be in touch about Tuesday night. You have a chat to Ulikai, and we'll see if we can't get him involved as well.
Yep, done, mate. No worries.
All right, beautiful. Cheers, mate. Darren Bergwerf, head of My Place Australia, and bloody good bloke. That's all I want to say. So it looks like a lot of people have got a bit of a giggle out of that thing that I played, and some didn't have their sound up loud enough. So turn your sound up again. I'm just going to prove to you folks that, at least in this case, some dickheads aren't on the road.
I seriously have no idea.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!